G'day, legends, and welcome to the off-season Chinwag on Celtic Down Under. I'm your host, Jared, and joining me is Liam. How you going, Liam?
Good, mate. Good. Just under 2 weeks to go until this madness ends, and we can finally start watching Celtic again. So, aye, hanging in there.
Yeah, let's start off with the current football scenario because it's kind of weird with having the Club World Cup, the expanded format going on at the moment. And for me,
Mm.
looking at it, it's good to see some football. But yeah, I was watching the Boca Juniors Bayern Munich game yesterday, I think it was, or the day before. I can't remember, a couple of days ago anyway.
Mm.
And just seeing the passion from fan bases with crazy active support and all that, it's great to see. So, what's your thoughts on the Club World Cup, Liam? You know, you've written an
That
article on how
the
Celtic can get into it, so we can do
aye.
that.
I mean, that is the thing. That's the same. That's the same thing I love about the World Cup, and to a lesser extent the Euros as well. Is getting to see like players, fans, jerseys, from quite obscure places that you wouldn't otherwise, because 95% of the football coverage that we get fed is European. So to see teams from South America, Mexico, all these Africa, whatever, all these places, and to see the color that the fans bring, and it's great. It's great. I think that part of it is excellent. What I don't agree with is it being in America with FIFA clearly just doing it for money, and with the quite kind of obtuse way that it's all been decided who should be there. Just have a straight knockout tournament with the champions of every country and the top 32 go to this tournament. That would be the easy way to do it.
That would be if you went like say you know how you got like the UEFA rankings for in Europe and Scotland's like dropped down to what are they 16th, 17th, something like that now. So if you
Aye.
went off the FIFA World Rankings and grabbed the top 32 countries and grabbed their champions of each of them, perfect. That could work. So
Yep.
I don't have a problem with that at all. I see this being in America as a dress rehearsal for the upcoming World Cup they've gotten. What is it next year? So it's
Aye.
pretty
Aye.
much
I mean, they used to do that with the Confederations Cup as well. So aye, that makes sense.
that's how I see it. It's taken the Confederations Cup sort of thing. So it's going to be interesting. And yeah, as McLaughlin's saying, it's gave us an idea of what next year's World Cup kickoff times will be at. Which that's there you go,
Mm.
silver linings and all of that. So yeah,
Aye.
McLaughlin's also saying Celtic should take Auckland's place. You've got to love the Auckland City story because they're just a bunch of forklift drivers and sales reps and everything who work full time, and the majority of them are just taking annual leave or leave without pay for a few weeks to go to this. So good on them. Complete
I was
semi-professional.
I was reading about their goalkeeper. Sorry, I can't remember his name, but I read an article about him, and it was just a photo of him with Manuel Neuer after the Bayern Munich game, and he was like, "I had to use like 2 weeks of unpaid leave and all my holidays, whatever. Do you know it was worth it just for this?" I thought, "Well done, mate. Well done. Fair play to you."
Yeah. So it's a bit of a doozy. Like the whole semi-professional side of it for Auckland City, like it sucks for them. Like they're getting absolutely pumped, but at the same time, like it's a great opportunity for these guys. When, as you're saying, when Zach Goldkeeper going to get the chance to play against Manuel Neuer? Hope he
Yeah.
swapped shirts with him or got his gloves or something. Just
Oh, I'm
you know,
sure he. I'm sure he did.
Neuer won't
Uh,
care. He'll be like, "Who's this bloke?" That bloke will frame Neuer's gear and say, "This is from the game I played against him." Tell his grandkids about it. So it's a great opportunity for him.
aye. Yeah. No, I think it's a tournament that has good potential, but they need to change up how they're running it right now. Just overall.
The thing I found funny as well, Liam, is they opened up a special transfer window for it, and then they closed the window again. And then is the transfer window open for the rest of us yet or not?
I think they're not open last Monday,
It opened
because
down the
Celtic
16th.
signed that boy from Morton, and we signed the boy from the goalkeeper from Aberdeen as well. So we've made signings. So clearly there is a window open somewhere.
Yeah, the
Um,
whole episode title for this pod where it was like, "Where are our signings?" or "Where are the signings?" That's me taking the piss because, geez, we've actually been linked with players, and as you said, we've signed Ross Doohan, Kieran Tierney's finally been announced. We all knew about that, but
mm,
then as you're saying, there was the kid from Morton who's going to probably go play in the B team. I'd prefer it if we just loaned him back to Morton rather than put him in the B team if he's not good enough. What's his name? English or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be an interesting one. But yeah, so realistically, all I wanted to talk about on this pod, it's going to be a relatively quick one, was our fixture list has come out, some transfer rumours and players we're being linked with, and then we'll just see where we go. We could go down a rabbit hole if it's you and me, Liam. Who knows where we could be talking? Next thing I know, we could be talking about like some sort of, Ninja Turtles spin-off with some other thing or some ridiculous stuff like that. So some anime or something
Well,
like that. It could go
we're
anywhere.
5 minutes in now, aren't we? So it's safe for me to share a wee story. So I came home the other night, and I'd had a couple of beers, and I was in an amorous mood. I says to the missus, "Hey, you fancy a shag?" She says, I said, "Oh, come on, don't. Why do you have to say it like that? This is supposed to be something magical, something special." I went, "All right, ta-da! Fancy a shag?"
He's back, everyone.
Sorry.
He is back. Liam, I think you've been missing the whole thing. Obviously, everyone who tunes in knows Liam, when he's on Axon, he's got to be super straight-laced and everything. So
Yeah.
this is his like outlet where he can just let all the chaos out. So I think you've missed that. We've had a couple of weeks off just to
Yeah,
have a bit of a
yeah,
break and everything.
definitely.
So
This is me just after dark. I
he's
get
up.
away with occasional hun scalping in my blogs, and that's about it.
Yeah, he's Liam is just unleashing. So people in the comments about the Japanese players, we'll get to them in a little bit. So yeah, just wanted to. I've got Ross Doohan. Obviously, we've spoken about him, so I'll cross him off my list. But realistically, we've been linked. This is just off the top of my head, the list I put together. Callum Osmond is a striker. Benjamin Negrin, I've completely butchered that, midfielder and winger. Japanese boy Hayato Inamura is a defender. Shoanj Balagwisha is a winger. Lennon Miller, Mateus Bogus, and Shin Yamada is a striker. So there's quite a bit of options there. It's good that we've been linked with players early on, but yeah, we'll start off with the Japanese boys. Hayato Inamura and Shin Yamada, Liam. What's the goss over in Japan?
Right.
What's
Well,
it looking like?
first of all, the Scottish press have once again been caught using Google Translate instead of being journalists, because they've literally just been lifting stuff from Japanese websites without actually checking it for context. Now, Celtic are interested in both players. That is true. The Inamura deal is a bit further along than the Yamada one. But personally, I'd be more excited about Yamada based on the type of player that he is.
Do you want to tell us what sort of players they both are? Just give us a bit of info on that.
So we'll go with Inamura first. So left-sided centre back who can also play left back. Has only played about 33 games for Albirex Niigata's first team, which is his current club. But don't read too much into that, because he and actually Shin Yamada, who we'll get to in a minute, are kind of in the same boat, in that because they went to university, they didn't start playing professionally until they were 22 years old. So they would have been playing university football throughout that entire time. But he's only been a part of the Albirex setup for the past 18 months. Basically, they got to the final of the League Cup last year, which was totally unexpected, because that's the same as like it would be like a sort of a Partick Thistle or a Queen's Park getting to the League Cup final in Scotland, or Rangers or something like that, But basically he was the star man of that League Cup team, and Japanese teams tend to treat the League Cup as an under-23 tournament. I don't think that's the official line, but kind of it's an unspoken rule that that's what they do. And he was the star man, so he got promoted to the first team squad for this season, and he's been playing really well. Scored a beauty of a goal at the weekend. Look it up on YouTube if you can, even though they lost 3-2 at Fukuoka. And yeah, I think he's a definite prospect. He's a raw talent, but he's definitely something Celtic can work with. Bringing him in as a backup for Kieran Tierney, I think, would just be absolutely fine. So that's pretty much it for Inamura.
Yeah, my mic's just dropped out, Liam. So
Yeah,
sorry about that. Just
no,
just continue on.
okay. So talking about Yamada then. So Yamada is a striker, similar build
Similar build to
to
Kyogo,
but more
but more
physical.
physical.
And I
And
think
I
he
think he
offers
offers
more
more
in
in
terms of
terms of
heading the
heading
ball.
the ball.
He's
He's
actually very
actually
good
very
for a
good.
guy
For a
who's
guy
only
who's only
five foot
5'9",
nine. He's very
he's
good in the
very good
air.
in the air.
Scores a
Scores
lot
a
of his
lot of
goals
his
with his
goals
head.
with his head.
And
And
yeah,
yeah,
my
my
voice is
voice is
echoing back
echoing
at me.
back at me.
This is a
This
bit
is a
weird.
bit weird.
Aye. Right.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Has that helped at
Or
all?
not?
No.
No.
It's still
It's
coming
still
back at
coming
me.
back at me.
All right, just let me play around with some settings here. I'll just mute my mic.
Okay. Right. So as I was saying with Yamada, he is basically a striker in the same mold as Kyogo, but not quite at that level yet. But he's got the potential. Now, if you go into his Wikipedia page or whatever, you might look at it and go, "Oh no, he's only played like 60 games." Again, it's the same as I was saying a minute ago with Inamura. He's been a registered player at Kawasaki since 2018, but he's only actually been a part of the first team squad since 2022. And for the reason being that he was at university for those 4 years. So don't worry too much about the lack of game time because he was playing university football throughout that and he's been playing in the J League since then. And I would also say that he is the more exciting of the two players that we're looking at. But I think they'll both be excellent additions if we can get the deals over the line and get them in. However, don't expect any movement on this for another 10 days or so. And the reason being that there is a mid-season break in the J League. The J League, as I think I've said before, runs from March until November. And for that reason, you're going to get a 2-week break at the start of July. I think it begins July 5th and runs until about July 11th or 12th, something like that. So it's about a 10-day break, about a week and a half, 2 weeks break. And during that time, a lot of players go out and a lot of players move to new clubs within Japan as well. So basically, Inamura and Yamada, if they move to Celtic, are not going to be officially announced until the first week of July. And then they'll get the chance to say their goodbyes to their clubs at their final games, which will be probably either Friday 4th or Saturday 5th of July. And
So
then
is that
they'll come back.
is that better, Liam?
Aye, that's a bit better. I can hear you okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I had to figure out some sort of workaround, so we got there in the end. So yeah, see how
Aye,
we go.
so like I was saying with these guys, it'll be a couple of weeks probably before they're confirmed if they are coming to Celtic because they're not going to announce them until that mid-season break.
Yeah, makes sense. So yeah,
Yeah.
well, I'm not worried about the ages because even with Hurtado, when we signed him, he came out of the university system. So yeah, it's a similar sort of thing before he went to Frontal. So yeah, we'll figure all that out. We'll just go to the next one on the rank, Leonard Miller. They're wanting what? That's not going to happen, is it?
No, and to be honest, I think for him as a player, it's better if he goes to like Italy or Germany or something, somewhere where he'll actually get game time, guaranteed. Because he's no guaranteed to be a starter at Celtic. I know he's good enough to be a starter, but it's no guaranteed.
Yeah. So then we're basically looking at midfield options. So Mateus Berger's out, so however you say it, I can never get that name right. We're linked with him last off season. Apparently, it's about a £5 million is what the fee is going to be for him. Yeah, looks like apparently he's in talks with the club. What are your thoughts there, Liam?
Interesting one. Again, it's one of those things where we take a player who's maybe tailed off a bit and try and rejuvenate him because he was looking really good at LAFC when we were first interested in him. He's since gone to Cruz Azul in Mexico where it's not really worked out. I think he's only got 2 goals in 14 games. and they are playing him in a more defensive role when he was playing pretty much as a number 10 for LAFC. So yeah, he's an interesting one. Definitely, it's one of them. He wants to move back to Europe, so he's got a point to prove. He wants to cement his place in the Polish national team. I think he's got 4 or 5 caps so far, and yeah, I think it's a hungry player with a point to prove, and Celtic is a perfect platform for him. So if the deal can be done, I think it's a good one.
Yeah, I think it makes sense as well. Like it seems like gives us something a bit different from what I've seen of him. He's different to what we currently have, and that was an issue I had whenever we put, say, Bernardo alongside Engels. They were two similar players playing together, and it didn't seem to work that well. So he's got that bit of difference about him in that if Fatade was out, we at least would have another guy who could get on the ball and create and make something happen. So I rate him. I think he's a good player, and if we're talking about you know, repair job sort of thing, like he's dropped off and he needs to do it. We know Brendan loves doing that sort of thing, and that's probably why we're also being linked with Evan Ferguson.
Yeah, a similar set of circumstances. Was the next big thing and then kind of tailed off. So aye.
So yeah, with Evan Ferguson, what do you think? What are your thoughts there?
I don't think that one's going to happen, to be honest. I think he'll go somewhere else in England, just simply because of the money.
I'm being honest with you. He's only been linked with us because he's Irish. That's my thoughts.
I mean, there is a bit of that as well, isn't there? Aye.
Like,
But
it's good player, but I don't really see why would we bring him in on loan when we've got our own Irish striker at the club.
no. Put it this way: if it was a choice between him and Yamada, I would definitely say get Yamada in and forget about Ferguson.
Yeah, fair enough. And then Callum Osmond, apparently we've signed him, from what I've heard. Is a young Welsh striker. So that brings the question: is with Jota out and we've been linked with so many strikers. I know we were one striker down last season, but say if we were to sign Yamada, Osman, and then you've got Ida and you've got Maeda, does that mean Dazon's going to go back on the left while Jota's out? Is that what we're looking at? Or are we looking at him going to that position because Kun's going to be leaving and we need another winger on the other side?
I mean, Neugren could fill that role as well. I think he's able to play on the left, so there is that possibility.
Yeah, I've got Nugren as playing right wing, left wing, and central mid.
Aye. I mean, that's the thing. He's a very versatile player, so it's a question of where is he going to be best for us. We don't really know that yet. But I want Dyson to play as a striker, but I think the reality is he's probably going to play as a winger until Jota's back.
Yeah, I think I'd just rather Maeda plays as a striker. You've been telling us for years that he's a striker. We've seen him play for Japan as a striker. He finally gets a crack at it this season, and look what he does. As Square Sausage Mick's saying, yeah, Maeda is a striker, 100%.
Yep.
The lucky part is he can jump on the wings, so that's always a good thing as well. But yeah, it's going to depend on who we're up against more than likely. But it's good to have options, have multiple options there. And McLaughlin, I love this one here. Milan striker Luka Jovic on a free transfer now. Oh, get him in. He'd be on two. Yeah, there you go. I'm saying probably on 100K a week. Yeah, that's the issue. If you could get him in, get him in. That is an absolute ripper call there. Hadn't even thought of that.
I mean, he would probably be a cheaper option than Ferguson because I don't think the wages in Italy are as high as they are in England. So
yeah, so it's going to be. I agree with you. The wages will be interesting, but yeah, we'll see how that goes. So back to the Gren and the other winger that we've been linked with. How many wingers do you think we need to sign, Liam? One or two? I think we definitely need one, maybe two, depending on what we do with Maeda. That's my thoughts. And what happens with players coming back from loan, like Palmer, like Tilio. We have to move those guys out to make sure it's going to happen. So I think if we're going to get two, we definitely need to move some guys out. Yang goes on loan, or actually Yang was being linked with Portsmouth on loan, for a season, right? And he was going to go there to play wing. But they just signed young Adrian Segacek from Sydney FC to play that position. So there goes that option for him down at Portsmouth. So, yeah, there's 3 guys there. Definitely one winger, potentially 2.
Again, I'd be happy with 1, but I would prefer 2 just for cover. But, if we get 1 new winger in, and then you've got, for example, if Tillio comes back in and shows that he's got something to offer, then yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to bring up some comments here. So, Irishman in Porto saying, regarding the Japanese lads and the Japanese national coach stance, are they going to damage your international chances coming to Celtic?
I would say probably not, because Moriyasu has been embarrassed big time over the whole Kyogo thing, because he basically bullied Kyogo's agent into forcing through a transfer for Kyogo away from Celtic, and he's only got 1 cap since. So, no, Moriyasu doesn't get to play that card anymore, I'm afraid. He can't expect... Look, Japan are a country who are on the up in terms of world football, right? But he can't expect every player to be playing in the top 5 leagues. You can't. That's unrealistic. So no, he needs to get his head sorted, and he's probably for the off after the next World Cup anyway. Hopefully.
Yeah, I was going to say the exact same thing, Liam. Like Moriyasu, after the butcher job he did to Kyogo's career with that move, well, he's got a fat load of diddly squad of being able to push anything through and doing what he wants and bully any players. So he can shove it right up where the sun don't shine, because I don't think it's going to be an issue for our boys. I actually reckon they'll look at it and go, look at what Kyogo was doing at Celtic, and look what's happened since he's made the move. So it's actually going to backfire against Moriyasu as well.
Yeah, because it's also robbed Japan of a potentially really good player. That's the other thing.
Exactly.
It's actually hurt the Japan squad as much as it's hurt Kyogo as well.
Yep, 100%. So with the wingers situation, Andrew's saying Maeda wants guarantees he's going to be the number 1 striker. Oh, should definitely be getting that guarantee. And then,
I mean, he should be, but I don't think Dyson's the type to demand that sort of thing, though. I think he'll be happy as long as the team are doing well and he feels he's progressing.
It depends on what version of Google Translate they use for some random Japanese interview too, as we've seen during the week. Andrew's also saying, is Tillio going over for pre-season? That's the talk. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Bloody tiara. There it is. So, Plunge McNugget saying, are we waiting for Kun to go before he announced Negrin?
No, Negrin's a done deal. Negrin is it might just be a case of waiting until they can report it to the stock exchange or whatever. I don't know, but it's done. I've heard from multiple sources that it is done. They just can't announce it until it's cleared with the financial authorities and whatever. Because unlike other clubs, we actually pay our taxes.
£1.6 million when they wanted 6 for him or something, but because he's only got 6 months on his contract, it's worked in our favour. We're getting an absolute weapon of a player on the cheap, so good fun. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting, all things considered, there with the wingers. But then the other guy we've been linked with is Michelle Balakwisha. It's been linked with again. That guy has a sick bay named after him at Royal Antwerp, apparently, when you look at his injury list. It's like the Tom Rogic sick bay at Celtic. It's a bit of a doozy. So, yeah, for £5.1 million they want for him. He's a player, can play anywhere across the front 3 or 4 positions. He can play as a 10, both wings and as a 9. But, yeah, I don't know. Depends what happens with Kun. I actually reckon we'll bring Nigren in, and then if Kun leaves, then Balakwish is there, hopefully, potentially to bring him in. But I don't know, because of his injury history.
I mean, the thing is with the injuries as well, it could also be like the type of football he's being asked to play. It could be the case that Antwerp, maybe their training regimen doesn't work for him, and if he goes to Celtic, and maybe it's a different approach. Because you get certain players who are injury plagued and they go to another club and then they're fine. So it could be the case that maybe Balikwisha just needs to go somewhere new and just kind of train a bit differently.
Well, the thing is, like Royal Antwerp, they play a lot of counter-attacking football, so that would be him getting deep and then trying to hit on the counter. So a lot of high-speed sprints to get over long distances, right? But then you get him at Celtic, as you're saying, and we're pressing and we're a bit more short, sharp effort. Maybe that could work for him. So who knows? You could see how it plays out. I wouldn't have an issue with him signing, I'll give you that much. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. So I'm going to leave the transfer talk there. The only thing I want to finish off on, Liam, is last year I had the whole plan to do these pods like once a fortnight sort of thing, unless something urgent happened, we had a signing or whatever, and then we jump on and do a quick 10, 15-minute show, right?
Yeah.
And we did nothing until the last week of the window.
I
So
know.
on that, it's actually great to see that there's a bit of life about Celtic at the moment, and players are in Glasgow having meetings and so on and so forth. It's actually great to see us signing players. So if this is
yeah. Sorry, continue.
I was going to say, so if this is like a change in how we do things, then is this the beginning of the Tisdale era where we do our work early, we identify for 6 months, 12 months, then we get the players in bright and early? It's got to be.
Aye, I hope so. And the good thing is, let's just say, for example, we get 5 or 6 players in the next couple of weeks, which looks distinctly as a distinct possibility, right? Then, just hypothetically, if somebody like Kuhn or Hatate was sold, you've then still got August to go out and spend that money on something else. It's not a case of we're rushing to find a replacement. It's a case of, right, we've got enough of a squad that we can let one of our big players go, and now we've got 20 plus million quid. Let's go and do something with it.
Reminds me of Ange's first season at the club, where he came in and we were down on numbers, but then we got towards the end of it and he'd signed a few players, and then we had and then we get the Aya money, we get the Edward money, and we went and bought a few more players, and then we got to the winter window, and then we brought in the guys from Japan and Matt O'Reilly, and off we went. So yeah, it's heavy vibes are saying was Ange's time, not a change in how we do things as well. Yeah, it looks that way. It's good to
I think
constantly evolving.
I said at the time when Ange came in that I hoped it wasn't just an Ange thing. I hoped that Celtic were going to continue that. And last season we kind of regressed from that, but it looks this season as if we're getting back towards that.
Yep, 100%. So yeah, it's good to see, and we'll keep an eye on it. And the shows will be once a fortnight, basically, over the off season, unless there's signings, and then we'll just whoever's available will jump on, whether it's me on my own or if Liam wants to jump on and just get some, random behind a paywall sort of content out here. You sure can. So, last thing I wanted to talk about was the fixtures came out, Liam. So. Just looking at the pre-season, like we're starting up in a couple of weeks' time with the game against Queen's Park, then Cork City, then Sporting, Lisbon, Newcastle United. Should be a freebie. And then we got Ajax in Italy. But then once we get to August, the season starts. So we're starting at home against St Mirren for Flag Day. Then Aberdeen away, Rangers away. So the first lot of so obviously it's going to work out where it's going to be harder for the first time round because we're starting away. Then Rangers will have all those home games, but it all works out in the final run there. What's your thoughts overall on the fixture?
I think it's one of them. It's like if we could go out and win every game in August, that is such a strong platform from which to build the entire season. Because that would obviously include going to Ibrox and winning. It would include winning a couple of tricky away games, Pataudry as well. And I think it's doable. And I think that would be a massive declaration of intent for the rest of the season.
It would be a great way to burst the bubble over at Ibrox too. So
Oof.
and get the pressure on the new gaffer already. So
Yeah.
and the San Francisco 69ers, the owners from there. So yeah, St Mirren.
The governed £1.49ers is what I've started calling them, but
I like that one better. So yeah, St Mirren at home, Livy at home, and then the Tawdry and the Crumble Dome for the others for the 2 away games. That'll be a good start off and hit the ground running. But if you put the Champions League qualifiers and that in there, like the Livy game, apparently we'll be able to delay that if we want because it's between the Champions League qualifying matches for us.
I think that's large. I would wonder how late in the game can we call that off? Because I know we're playing like the midweek, then we've got Livy, then we've got the second leg. So it's right between the two. See if if we've got a finely poised tie, like maybe we're only a goal up or it's level or whatever going into the second leg. We would want to concentrate entirely on that, and in that case, I would want the Livy game cancelled. But if we're like 3 or 4-0 up from the first leg, then
who cares?
Unlikely, I know, but if that happens, then it's a case of all right. Well, we'll just go ahead as normal, keep the momentum going. But you're not going to know which is the better option until we play that first leg. That's the problem.
Exactly. So it's a bit of a doozy, really. I like the idea of being able to delay it though. But then at the same time, does that put us now with a game in hand? Say if we were to qualify, delay a game, go to Ibrox and win, so then they drop some points, but then on the ladder, because we'll have a game in hand, they're still going to be on the same like for and against us in terms of points if they win all their other games as well. I look at it and go, would you rather bank points early and just have them on the board guaranteed, or would you rather have a game in hand?
Because the other thing is, if we do make the group stages to the Champions League, we're going to have another, cluster of fixtures between sort of October until January, and I really don't want to have to try and fit in a Wednesday night game, with Livy in the middle of that.
At home somewhere too, yeah. So at least it's not an away game, but at the same time, I wouldn't want to be cancelling at last minute for the travelling fans as well. That's the thing.
Aye.
If you got fans coming over from Ireland, you got fans coming up from England. Say if there's some Aussie fans or Japanese Celtic fans flying over from this side of the world all the way over there to then find out the game's been cancelled because of Champions League qualifier, you'd be filthy. Because
I mean, that's another reason why I think the split should be scrapped. It's ridiculous that you don't know who you're playing in a week's time, at that point of the season.
Yeah. So I'll bring up some comments here. Yeah, so we've got here, there's 70 days of the window open. And then the other comments here is, where is it? McLaughlin saying, I'm dead against us cancelling the Livingston game. And then follows that up with, I don't want us going to Ibrox chasing our tail.
That's a good point. Aye. That's, yeah.
And that's why I was saying I'd rather have points banked on the board if possible. And with the amount of congestion, as Andrew's saying here, we can't delay games when our season is so congested. It's not like we have a winter break there that we can play into.
Aye.
So, and then Heavy Vibes is saying squad should be big enough to cope.
It should be, aye, absolutely.
Andrew's saying it's only Livingston.
Famous last words.
And then Plunge McNugget, let that other lot postpone their game. They love doing that when we should play every game. And Pork Chop Express is saying wait till the further rounds if we get out group stage before cancelling games. Yeah, so we can do that later in the season as well if need be. But yeah.
So, you'd much rather have more time to prepare for a knockout tie than a qualifier if it was a choice between the two.
Let's go back to last season just gone, Liam. Would you rather have the extra couple of days of recovery and to prepare for an away game at Bayern Munich or host a game at home against, I don't know, whoever we were supposed to be playing.
Aye, I think I would want the extra prep if it was available. Definitely.
Yeah, otherwise you get done, 10-0 like Auckland City. Good fun. Anyway, I think we pretty much covered most of it off for tonight here. So thanks for jumping on, Liam. Really enjoyed
pleasure.
having a bit of a chinwag with you.
To answer Plunge McNugget's question, I'm not planning on watching their AGM, but I will be looking at their some of their fan sites later on to see the reactions when they realise the reality of what's actually about to hit them.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Hmm.
So yeah, it'll be an interesting one. You lot can watch it, so we don't have to. So yeah, we'll go from there. But yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. It's great to get on here and have a chat with you all again. And yeah, let's get some signings announced and be on here again in a few days, hopefully. I'll happily be on here for 10 minutes every day for the next week. If Celtic want to sign 7 players in 7 days, I'm all for it. Just letting you know. Celtic, do your thing. Make my wife hate Celtic for that reason. You're always on your computer. I'm joking. She's not like that. She's awesome. But anyway.
No.
All right. So thanks everyone for tuning in. Hail, hail.
Hail, hail.